Have you been looking for a Taekwondo podcast with qualified people who know what they're talking about, who help you keep up with everything going on in the Taekwondo world? Well, you found it. This is the Taekwondo Podcast. Taekwondo news, competitions and other events, training and sports science, keeping the fans, coaches, and high-performance athletes up to date with the latest news and trends on Olympic Taekwondo. Let's do this. This is the Taekwondo Podcast. And now your hosts, Coach César Valentim and Peter Nessler.
Hello and welcome to the Taekwondo Podcast. We're a podcast based out of Austria in English language for everyone out there who likes Taekwondo. In this episode, we talk with the German coach Markus Scheiterbauer. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Coach César Valentim. This week with me is the coach Markus Scheiterbauer from the German and European Taekwondo scene, very famous person in the Taekwondo community. So Happy New Year, Marco. It's a great pleasure to have you here as a guest. Can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Thank you, César. Also, I wish you a Happy New Year. Thank you that you're having me here. To my person, as long as I can think, I stick in Taekwondo. I started at 10 years, I think. Then, I sticked in. I started with Taekwondo as a competition. I liked it. So then I went traditionally to junior team, senior team. Then I went to the German full-time program in the army. So, and after that one, at the end of my career, I started as coach already in like club area. And then after that, I enjoyed it as much as I liked fighting. So then I had the idea after finishing my Taekwondo career to go up as a coach, as a trainer in my club. And then also as a coach, also as an athlete, I started to become a lot of fun. And then after this, doing all the licenses, did all the studying what I can find. It ended up in Cologne. I think you know it's called German Trainer Academy. So I went over there for 3 years, and after that I finished. And so it's so long time, so I could not remember really. But then I also started like a regional coach in Bavaria. Went up as assistant coach for German national team. After that, I took over, I think 2009, I took over juniors, went with the juniors everywhere, like cadet, world championships, European championships, with the junior team, with the under 21 team. So, and then I ended up as a senior coach.
You're currently the senior coach for the male team, the German national team, but you're being quite modest when you say you had fun as an athlete. You have some quite big achievements in your curriculum as an athlete.
Yes, but this is so long ago that. But I remember I was second at the Worlds, three times. I think military world championship, and then. I think 2 times I won World Cup bronze medal. So World Cup does now not exist anymore, but a few times went very well for me. But now I'm sticking already in this coaching thing. So I just concentrate on my athletes now, and have already forgotten my career as a coach, but as an athlete. But this one I really liked as an athlete. It was I did it my whole life, and I enjoyed so much. And I'm happy to also to stay again in Taekwondo, and can stay, and had a lot of persons in Germany that they support me a lot, so that I can do what I like now.
Well, yeah, you are one of the few rare cases where we see vice world champion, several times military world champion, European medalist, becoming a successful coach. And I think in your generation, our generation, because you're my age and we've been, I saw you fight. I actually never fought against you. I was in a different weight class. And at my time, Portugal would not compete internationally. As you know, we would never go to competitions. I think we did 93 Manila, the generation before me. My generation or the generation after me went for the first junior Europeans in Izmir. And I think I'm sure the first participation in terms of juniors was 2004 in Korea. And I was actually there as one of the trainers. And then, of course, 2006 in Ho Chi Minh. Until then, Portugal was not the powerhouse that it became then in the late 2000s. Germany was quite the opposite. Germany was, at the time that you were competing, one of the top 5 world powerhouses. That's something that it's, as you said, a lot of fun, but something like that changed a lot, right? Germany is somehow a little bit different in terms of as a power in Taekwondo. The number of memberships in the federation is definitely not the same as it used to be 20 years ago. And of course, there's a lot more countries and a lot of more Eastern Bloc countries that are doing WT Taekwondo right now. So the panorama changed. But how do you see that Germany changed from your time as a player and your time now as a coach?
Yeah, you're right. We had better times than now, but actually now we have did a good process, because now we started with a full-time program in Germany with seniors. We started now really to concentrate on one point, so in a high performance center. So now we are working with my colleague Balázs since 1 year, and I think he with the females he already had some great achievements. We get a gold medal, and also we get a bronze medal at the Worlds. So we had some young successes, but we struggled. I think we struggled a lot in Corona. Before Corona, it was okay. After Corona, we struggled a lot. Now we're trying to get back, and we work every day really hard. But I think one of the not problems, but it's okay. It's a nice process for Taekwondo in all over the world and all over Europe, because a lot of athletes getting stronger and stronger, a lot of nations getting stronger and stronger, and also a lot of countries get very professional. So this is what I see, and that's why for every nation it gets really hard to grab a medal.
Well, to be fair, 1 year of a full-time program, it's still too early in the road to expect any results. I know you've got some results with the heavier female divisions. And of course, it's 1 year down the road, it's nothing. You're basically still, if you would be a baby, you would not be able even to talk, and you probably wouldn't even be walking. So expecting that much from a high-performance program, it wouldn't be fair. How do you think the program is going to change the development of Taekwondo in Germany?
Since now we had with a full-time program, we had not a lot of experience, but we did a lot of achievements this year, and we had really hard times, and because we trained more, we stayed more together. So, but this stick us more together, and now we are like a big group or a group in a high performance center who has the same aims. So some boys and girls who looking forward to go there and see what great achievements the athletes doing now over there. So that's why we can win a lot of athletes to come there and train with us, and I think in the future we will have some more young talented athletes who will join this team.
The center, the venue that you guys have in Nuremberg, it's amazing. It's brand new, fully equipped, big, well located. It's surrounded by other sports federations. It's the entire sports park. But as you said, the program is only 1 year old. So how old are the players in your program?
So this depends. We have from in this center we have it starts at with let me think. It starts like 7:30 with really young athletes who go to school. Like we start from fifth class till the 12 degrees from olders, and we have the whole day. We have training over there, so it's a really nice place. And oh, sorry, it's a little far.
No, the question was more about how old are the athletes? What's their ages in average that are in your program? You're in charge of the male team, Balos in charge of the female team.
Yeah.
You have 16 players that should be the seniors if you complete the team. Are they young players?
Well, I think the male team is like around, let me guess, around to 21 in average. So the girls are a little bit, we have some older ones, but also we have some younger ones. I think average is like 20, 21. So it's still a young team, but we have also, especially in the female team, we have very experienced girls. And I think in male team, we have to complete the team with younger talents and build them up. So that we can start from the beginning.
That's one of the things that Germany has shown since the Rio Olympics. It's that the male team actually renewed a lot. Most of the older players left. You have a lot of young people. That's definitely very challenging for you. How do you, as a coach, manage with all that testosterone and all that adrenaline from the younger guys?
Yeah, the funny thing is, these guys I knew since they were cadets. So I had almost the whole team when I was junior coach. So it made my work easy. So that's why I can handle them and I like them, and we have a good chemistry over there. So that's why I think in the future we will have a lot of fun, and I hope we can achieve the things we like to do. And I'm looking forward for that.
Yeah, me too. Germany is definitely one of those. First of all, is our biggest neighbor, so I'm pretty sure that the more you guys grow, it's also influences how much the taekwondo in our region and the German-speaking countries will grow. So your success is definitely important for everyone in the region. And talking a little bit more about the center and your work you're doing there, the full-time program, and I've been talking with you for the last years since the pandemic allowed us to have competitions again. You're one of the few coaches that I know that listens to the same podcast, loves to use technology, does monitoring of the players, does the training plans and all these solutions. And that's probably one of the few coaches I can talk about the technologies in Taekwondo, especially in the German-speaking countries, the importance of new technologies in Taekwondo training and monitoring. Can you tell us a bit how these technologies are helping you with your training?
So I'm a little bit a techno nerd, so that's why I like data, and that's why I like all the new technologies that we can work with. So, but we keep it simple. First, we try to keep it simple. We track all the data from mostly every session. We start with like heart rate, like maybe every coach tried to do it with heart rate from our endurance training. Then we already track like because we are in a weight class sports. That's why we track the weight all the days. And I know that you're working with the same software as I do, but I don't want to be like now like ambassador for this.
No, it's okay. They don't sponsor us anymore, so you don't have to.
But this is a great tool. So also the athletes can bring their wellness in, and we can track how they feel every day. So, and we looking every day on these data because we try to have a complete picture from all the athletes and what we can do, what we can train. How does our training increase? How does the training load become to the athletes? How they feel? So that's why we try to track a lot. Also, we had some great work with our scientists. They work with they came they accompanied our trainings camps, and we monitor like CK,
yes,
creatine
phosphate. Yes.
Yeah, Then also
creating kinesis. I'm sorry.
yeah. So we in the most important training camps, we try to get all these data in the morning, like glucose and also like creatine, so that we can have the training individual for the training schedule individual for every player. So that's why we collect all these data, but in all these data, there's also really a lot of work inside. So you need a good stuff to see how it works for the athletes also.
Yes, if you don't have a staff that understands the data that they are collecting, and they're overwhelmed by the amount of data that they have, they probably use the expression that data sinking, right? They get flooded with so much data that they don't know how to use and to basically export it, and especially to translate it for the coaches that are not into data analysis and which data points are important. But that's for the coaches to understand the data, and it's easy for you to probably during training camp to measure creatine kinesis or glucose levels or even hydration levels. But during the normal season, because you are monitoring them and you're asking them to do wellness questionnaires, as you mentioned, you're doing heart rate, probably also heart rate variability. What do the athletes think about it? Because for us as coaches, especially you and I, we like data, so we are really eager to get the data and to work based on the data-based approaches. But the athletes need to buy into the system. The athletes on your side understand why do they have to share data?
Yeah, sometimes it's annoying for them, but now we put a lot of work in these data. So, and we keep them, we give them all the data that they need for training, so that we show them that if they train like with the right heart rate, so then they have a benefit because they train really in the zone that they need, so they don't waste time, and that makes them better, and they also feel better because we can give them what they need. So that's why we try to make it very understandable for them, and we talk a lot of and we plan all the sessions with them together. So I think they're used to it and they liked it, and also they try when we see who's underperforming in every session, and we also see who's overperforming in a session. So and we try to give them a good feedback, and what I see is that they grow with these data, and they also compare to another, so they have they see, oh, my data are better than yours, and so we had traditionally we start with testing all the stuff at the 2nd of January. So they are prepared and they are ready for the tests, and they're looking forward to get their results, and then they try to compare to another and try to be better than last year and try to be better than the other ones. So that's why it's very challenging for them. So, and they understand it right now because we are working really long time with testing and all this stuff.
Do you use live monitoring of the heart rate to decide the training program live during the training?
Yeah. So when it's important, like important trainings camp at the beginning of the season, and every important session where we say, okay, you have to go here in your zone. Yeah, you have to go like very high intense, or you have to keep very low. So then we monitor them with almost with heart rate. Also in Taekwondo sessions and also during endurance training, they do it now by their own. So yeah. This we achieved in the last years.
So in terms of athlete monitoring, inside and outside of training, what variables do you think that are more important to observe?
Variables, you mean like
data points? Yes. What kind of data you like to watch? Is as you mentioned, is the percentage of maximum heart rate? Do you monitor them like neuromuscular fatigue by doing counter movement jumps, wellness questionnaires. Which kind of data is for you the most important ones that you like to watch? Of course, we as coaches also are probably a lot worried about how much do they weight on their scale, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ones that that we get through the systems.
Yeah, we have we have some nice tests. Like we have some anaerobic tests, and it shows it is like we call this 10-second test. They kick as much as fast and as hard they can, and after that we get they do like a blood measurement, and after that we can see how fast they can use the lactate to generate energy.
So you're talking about the frequency of speed kicking test, the FSKT?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this test gives us a good experience for how good they are in their specific in when they do their workouts, when they do the Taekwondo specific workouts.
It's pretty much the only endurance specific test out there that is scientifically validated, and you can also see the coefficient of decrease in anaerobic stamina.
Yeah, but we also, but this is not the point now. But we also, but I just let you know because I know that you're interested. We also have a test for how you call this. I think
you can say it in German.
Yeah, VO2 max.
Yes, the VO2 maximum aerobic capacity.
Yeah, yeah, we have like a RAM test for Taekwondo specific.
All right.
So normally you do this with the mask on the running on the belt.
Yes, the ergonometry. Yes, spirometry.
Yeah, yeah, spirometry. But we also we evaluate the test for. So we generate a test for Taekwondo specific, like to measure VO2 max. So this is also a nice test we see, and we can also can generate a lot of data from this one. And
you use it by using portable spiral masks, or you are?
Yeah, and we do it like a Taekwondo fight, and then we can do a nice measurement. And from this data, so we have
Yes, it's a very good understanding of the aerobic capabilities of the athletes doing a sport-specific test, and that's something that is in our sport is missing a lot. And now with the wearables and the portable spiral masks and all these things, it's much easier to do stuff that 10 years ago was unthinkable. They put with all the cables and the tubes that the players had to do some electrocardiogram and spirometry simultaneously. It was technology is right there, so good on you. Yeah. Now I'm jealous.
No. This is because we have a good team in our Olympia high-performance centers. We have a good team of scientists. He also works with a lot of federations in martial arts, so he's quite experienced, and he knows what we need. He knows what martial art needs. So over there we have a really nice scientist over there. So, and for our endurance sessions, we do the tests, and after these tests, as I think as everybody is doing, we do the running test, and they know how fast they have to run or how the heart rate has to be. So we can manage the endurance session very well with this.
Yes, and of course, and after using spirometry to do the test in a sport-specific environment, and later on in the training, you don't need to use the masks. You only need to measure the heart rate because you already know the intensity and the thresholds that you need to work on. Of course, with all the equipment that you have, it makes it very easy. Actually, equipment that these days is accessible to every club. I'm a club and I have it, and you can get whatever solution is out there. Of course, I use First Beats because I love it, not only because they sponsored the podcast. There are other solutions out there. I decided to go a long time ago with First Week because I think it's the one that most adapted to my system. But there are cheaper solutions, and if you are only working at a small club level, you only need 1 or 2 players. You don't even need a team solution. You can have each one have their own solution and their bands and their cell phones on the wall, and you can see where they're going. If you know the question is to get the baselines and to get the thresholds, and for that you need the sports scientists. After that, it's a club working, and that's something that's probably missing. And at least from my perspective, and next week we'll be talking with someone from Great Britain, Stephen, who's going to be here, Stephen Turner, and we'll also mention the situation of the clubs in Great Britain. I think Germany and Europe in general, the clubs are not that invested, and the special clubs that don't have access to technology or clubs that are not working close to national teams like yours. And I think yours, French, GB, and Spanish national teams are probably the only ones that have big scientific training centers. All the others don't have full-time programs. It's mostly at club level that it's done. What do you think it's missing at that level to develop Taekwondo in Europe?
So I think in Europe is missing like we when we watch to like Asia, we don't have these human resources, even in the number of athletes and even in the number of coaches. So, for example, in Germany, we have some coaches that are working very well, very well. They have everything like you told and everything like you have in your club, but this is just a handful. And so when we watch in Europe, I see also the same. They have some clubs are very well organized, very well modern training and on a very high level, but this is a very it's not a big number. It's a handful of coaches and a handful they can provide a full-time program. This is my opinion, and what it's missing is that more clubs working like a full-time program, because Taekwondo is now increasing in such a high level that everybody has to go like a full-time program. You cannot manage as a normal club coach who works and do this part-time. You cannot go with all these elite athletes. So this is missing. I think it's missing like coaches and athletes who like to work like in a full-time program. So, and also structure, and Taekwondo is getting more expensive, and you have to travel a lot. You have to do a lot of competitions. So also like the financial program is what I see. So in future, I think clubs need to work and federations need to work with clubs in cooperation, so that they can come all together and work together and try to help them together to become better athletes.
Well, in Austria, people many times ask me, so what do I do for a living? And I get a little bit surprised when I say I'm doing Taekwondo. And they say, okay, and what's your job? I said, my job is Taekwondo. So I'm considered the only professional sports Taekwondo coach. But even though I'm not fully dedicated and exclusively dedicated to the competition team, I have to run the normal club programs. I have to do the kids training. I have to do all the other stuff. Not always. I did not always have to do it, but with the expansion of my club, I had to pick up classes again, start teaching the normal students and then the competition team. So at some point, I'm not even a professional high performance coach. I'm a professional coach that does high performance. And then yet I'm the only one. Everyone else that I know that has a high performance program, they have their normal jobs, and then they find the time in the evening before going home or something to teach some classes. And most of them, they don't even have their own training centers. But that's Austria. It's way smaller. It's 10 times smaller than Germany. How's the situation over there? Are there many professional clubs?
Yeah, like I told, this is also in Germany. We have a handful of great coaches. They're doing great work. They give everything. They have also like their own place, their own high performance centers. But I think when we want to come closer to the world elite and closer to European elite, then we have to create more, and we have to support the clubs more as a federation, as also the regional federations have to support them, and everybody has to come together. So because it's too hard to grab a medal. So that's my opinion.
You're also one of the European Taekwondo Union coaches for the developing countries, so you have a little access to experience with other people. So you travel a lot. You've been you know our situation: Netherlands, Belgium, neighboring countries, Switzerland are working. Is the situation the same over there, or is it even worse than in Germany and Austria?
I know from the Netherlands that they're working now on a full-time program, because Coach Rafik was before like a long time in Germany. He worked for our federation for six months, I think, or 8 months, and he went home because he has now they provide him that he can get a high performance center, and he's working on a full-time program. So I think Netherlands, it will take time, but I think they will have a full-time program in the next years. And also Belgium, they're running a full-time program in because they have like two federations. I know other federations is a little bit, they're struggling now with some athletes, but the other ones, they're performing in a very, very high level. And I think also now with the young athletes, with the girl Sarah,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
yeah, they have now a younger generation, and they will continue with the same work with Leonardo. And yeah, France also, our neighbors, they're working with in a full-time program, running very well, very well. So yeah, this is what I know, and our neighbors working as hard as we can, and everybody tries to achieve as much as they can.
Yes, the program that Rosendo is developing in France, of course, being the next host of the Olympics, it's a different scenario. They have access to logistics that right now no one else gets in Europe, maybe compared to the GB Taekwondo level. Spain has very big programs. They have two high performance centers running full time. They used to have more, but two national ones, a few regional ones that are also full time. Galicia, for example, has a full time regional program. Germany has one since 1 year. Netherlands is starting now. I think Netherlands will have a problem because they don't have the numbers of athletes to fill out a program on their own. And that's something that I keep discussing in Austria. In Austria, I tell them many times, we don't need a national performance training center when we don't have the players to fill in. When we have 4 players, seniors in 4 different weight classes and 2 different genders, so it's hard to combine them together in a high performance center and pay someone to train 4 people that are so different. But the club level is the one that is, in my opinion, still where most of the work is done. And happy to hear that your position, that the federations and the clubs need to be working closer together, and the federation should support the clubs that are doing high performance programs. Because in the end, we're the minority. The majority of the clubs that are voting members in the federations, that are showing and demanding things from the federations, are not the clubs that are doing the sports performance programs. They're the ones that are doing the traditional after hours, after school programs.
Yeah, that's true. But when we want to have the best solution would be like also, and we also think in Germany that we have, after building a full-time program, now we also have to think about to run a full-time program for juniors, that we can generate our athletes by our in our own facilities. So but the clubs are the base. So if the clubs not running, we will not have any athletes in any full-time programs in any country. So I think in these countries where clubs are like traditional, like Germany. So without the club coaches, we would be not like we will have not be there where we are now, and we will not get any new talented athletes when we cut this off. But I also think that we have to run a full-time program for juniors, and I think also, like in Germany, we have a lot of football schools, like, and they starting from like, I think 6 or 7 years. And I think also some federations or regional federations have to think about running their own junior programs or cadet programs. So that we start with highly trained athletes in the seniors.
Do you think that having a problem of having a national program for the juniors will cause also the risk of the clubs that are performing or producing those juniors to be dried out? If you take the players away from the clubs that have one or two good juniors, move them to a national center where they have a full-time program, that their clubs will dry out. I say that in Spain, for example, many clubs prefer to have their players in the national training center because they accept that the costs of taking the athletes to a high-performance pathway are too high, that they don't want to invest in traveling all the time, buying expensive equipment, or getting all these licenses for one single player in the sacrifice of their income source. That's the club and the normal members. But most of the clubs around also complain that the national federations dried the clubs out by removing the leader or the talented kid from the club.
Yeah, that's problem in Taekwondo. This is a martial art program or martial art problem, because I think we all coaches like to train with our kids and we try to hold them as long as we can. But I also was a club coach, so I know what I'm talking about. But I'm a big football fan, and I also talk a lot with football coaches, soccer coaches in Germany, because in Germany soccer is very, very famous. You know, we lost, but we lost at the World Championships, but it's still very famous. And they have there's another view, because they train in their clubs for high performance center. This is the way for them. They get proud when one of their players gets selected to go to the next level, to the next step, to the next high performance center, to the next regional center. So this is another view, and in especially in martial arts, I think this is like we call the master class, and we try to keep our students as long as we can. But I see that it works very well in German soccer. So they get proud when their athletes get selected, and they work for, okay, this time one of my players gets selected. So next year they try to get 3 in the next step, in the next level. So, and also the regional center or the national center or the next center, they honored this work from this coach. So I think we have to do this work and not be jealous when this guy is a better coach than me or this guy have a better player than me. So we have to be humble and to keep just watch and focus on the next level always.
Okay, Marco, we'll take a little break and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about Taekwondo in Europe.
This podcast is supported by Hocken Dynamics. Hocken Dynamics believes that technology is most useful when it stays out of your way. That's why Hocken developed the world's first wireless force plate system with extreme usability. It is the quickest, easiest to use, and most robust solution on the market. It is trusted by all sports organizations large and small, as well as tactical, military, and rehabilitation environments around the globe. It's force testing in the palm of your hand. Here at Taekwondo Center, we use Hocken Dynamics to test and monitor our team. The cloud-based platform allows us to access data and publish a variety of reports on the go. My favorites are trend reports and, of course, weight reports, where I can monitor different metrics to view progress and identify performance indicators, or to compare weights to a baseline data range. I use it on a daily basis to identify readiness. A simple jumping test takes me less than a minute to assess the entire team. Having my own Hocken Dynamics force plates allows me to test reactive strengths, maximum strengths, rate of force development, asymmetry, and so much more. The real-time feedback on the app is useful not only for testing, but as a training tool, making it more accurate and at the same time more engaging for the athletes. If you are interested in learning more about Hocken Dynamics or getting your own, the team can be reached at info@hockendynamics.com or on Instagram or Twitter @HockenDynamics.
This podcast is sponsored by First Beat Sports. First Beat Sports combines the most comprehensive analytics in team sports with a customizable interface to support real-time monitoring, recovery monitoring, performance management, and much more. The result? data-driven decisions that support your athletes and team training, recovery, and performance goals. First Beat Sports is trusted by professionals. Over 23,000 athletes representing over 1,000 teams around the world rely on the solution to train and plan with confidence on a team and individual level using HRV-based insights. For more information, please visit our website, firstbeat.com/sports.
You're listening to the Taekwondo Podcast. Now back to your hosts, Coach César Valentim and Peter Nessler.
So welcome back. I've been talking with Marco about Taekwondo in Europe, and let's continue about it. Taekwondo in Europe is strong, but besides the national team programs in countries like Spain and Great Britain, Germany and France right now, we don't see many clubs developing high-performance programs, and we don't see the clubs cooperating too much with other countries, especially not in the German-speaking area, where we don't see too many Austrians or Swiss or German clubs interchanging between themselves. Why do you think that is?
Traditional, because they're not used to work together, but maybe we can do this together and bring all them together, because I think it's a great way to improve all the countries, and everybody will have a benefit from this one. So I think we have to force this one to get stronger all together, to get stronger, to be better in training, to get more people in training, get more coaches involved, and try to share their experience. So maybe it's a good way to after this podcast to bring them together.
We've seen now some of the developments from the Pan American regional team federation, that they are trying to create camps and trying to get their different countries together. They've had many times, of course, private programs like we have in Europe, and private camps and winter and summer camps like we have all around the world. Thailand does it, Australia does it. In Mexico, very famous for it. In US and in Europe, everywhere we have several summer and winter camps. Some bigger than others. Of course, there's the references in Spain or in Greece or in Serbia. But in the terms of continental powers working together on an umbrella of the European Taekwondo Union, we don't see that much. Do you think it should stay at the club level, that we organize within ourselves to organize between clubs, or it should also be from the world, from European Taekwondo Union, or bilateral contacts between federations, more initiatives for the exchange of and learning of so that the players can not only be competitors and adversaries, but also share training and knowledge?
Yeah, I think this would be a great idea. We had one of the biggest and best trainings camp at the Youth Olympic Games, because we had to stay, all nations had to stay like 3 weeks, and Taekwondo was in the first week. After that, all coaches spoke together and said this would be a great idea to train together. And we bring all the athletes together after Olympics, after some days rest, we bring them all together. And this was one of the best trainings camp we had ever. We had like, I think 4 days of session, because we cannot bring them all together till the end. But for 4 sessions, we had very good chemistry, and all trained nice together. All the coaches took a part from the training, and this went so well. So I know in judo, they do this after every Grand Slam. They have like Grand Prix and Grand Slam. And Grand Slam is the same as Grand Prix in Taekwondo. And almost all the nations stay longer after the Grand Slam to train together. And there's a bunch of nations who just train together, fight together. I know this because our scientist, he's very highly involved in judo. And he said this is sometimes better than he saw in all national training camps.
Yes, the atmosphere, of course, you've done with the competition, you're just for the training with people that you see many times throughout the year on the same competition, on the same camps, and so they know each other. They have sparring partners, of course, because all the weight classes are there. I had a funny experience last year or 2 years ago in the Austrian Open was cancelled, the one that was supposed to be happening in November, and it was cancelled. So very short notice, last minute. Most of the teams were here already, and I already had, as usual, some teams coming over and spending some time before the Austrian Open to train with me, and they always plan to stay a little longer to stay in my centers and train together. But when the event got cancelled, half of the teams that were around called me, "Are you doing something? Is your club open?" And of course, the restrictions said, yes, you can have training, and you can, as long as you follow the rules. It's not a lockdown, it's a partial lockdown. So we actually organized a camp, improvised out of one day. I opened all my rooms. I had 300 square meters, and we organized test matches and camps. And in the end, most of the foreign coaches said it was nicer for my players than coming to a G tournament, because we did many more matches, we did much more training, we changed so much, we learned so much, and we made so many friends, and that's important. Of course, this was an extraordinary situation, but having a camp after a competition definitely is something that is a good idea. I think some events, some countries did it, but Europe should probably start focusing on that, making the camps after the competitions. That's actually, hey, let's see who's listening. Maybe we have, I know German has some people I up in the ranks from ETU. Our German secretary is from Germany, so maybe they want to get this idea pitched out to the event organizers, having a camp after a competition, especially a high level competition. It's always something very interesting.
Yeah. We try to figure this out and try to force this one together. Maybe we can have a nice training camp in the future. I'm looking forward for that one.
Of course, you are give you that your idea actually to the people that are able to do some changes, because I'm just a simple club in Vienna doing something, and the podcast is more about the sports science than all the events. In the last episode, I did mention that we need a database of the color belt competitions. We are missing a centralized information about events that are not G tournaments, because we have a world global membership system platform where you can see all the official events that are world and Olympic rankings, but we don't have anything for the color belts, and it's very hard for the clubs in the development stages and the development pathways to find out where to go, where the competition is going to happen, and which weight divisions, with color belts, with what age divisions are allowed. And I think there's a lot to do about information and about sharing information about these things, and that's the reason why I made the podcast.
Yeah, this is a nice way to bring Taekwondo to all the people, this podcast.
Let's see if podcasts starting to become more popular. I usually started listening to podcasts when I was driving, all these long hours where you are athletes sleeping in the back seat and you're driving, right? And I hope people will start getting more of this. It is not only this podcast, but there are so many interesting podcasts out there. It's a good source of information. Talking about the developments in Germany, is there something that you're able to share with us? What are your plans for the upcoming season and for the future?
Yeah, definitely international training camps. So our doors are always open, as I told to my friends, and this is one of the big things we try. We try to have in every training camp, like we started last year, we had some guys from Greece. We planned with some guys from Iran, but they cannot make it. Also, we have some good connection to the Koreans. They will come like this year, I think. And also we try to have a competitive training camps for our players. So this is, and we try to push them every day to the edge. And with the experience we made, we found out that we need more good trainings partners, more and every like new trainings partners, to give them every day what they need for at the end for the tournaments. So we have all the equipment over there, but when you train always together, you know each other, you know all movements, and it's not really challenging to fight every day against the same people. So that's why this is one thing we found out, and one thing we really try hard to bring like good athletes over there. Sometimes it's enough to bring 2 or 3, but also like big. We had one of the best trainings camp we had last year was with Egypt team, and they invited us. Now maybe this year we can make it, but the schedule is so big. So I hope that we can also come to them, or they will come to us. So this is one big thing we need, and this is. This 1 hour, and we have this keynote that we always try to have good training partners in our high performance center.
Okay, it's to wrap things up. I'm going to make a question that I haven't done in quite a long time, since the beginning of the first season. What do you do? What do you have in your recipe book that no one else is doing?
You mean in training or in coaching?
Yeah, both.
Both. So in coaching, I think I'm just a regular guy in coaching, but when it comes to like crunch time, I think I'm on the point. And then when things heated up, I'm getting better. So this is one of I think that I have learned in my athlete life that I can bring to the coaching. And when I have a good connection to a player, this can end up to like big medals that we had in Germany with the juniors. And I'm looking forward to get this with the seniors also. And in training, I think I'm quite creative. I try to bring every session new things, so that they are that they're looking forward to, okay, what's going on in the next session, what's going on next minute, what's going on in next exercise. So, and I try to have also a lot of fun in training, because I think when we have fun, we can get the good connections to the player, and then we can take out everything for the players. So I think I'm a regular guy, but with quite a lot of experience and the good connections to players, I think. So this ends up, I think, in not a bad performance overall.
Thank you, Marco. It was a pleasure being here with you and with everyone who is listening. This was the Taekwondo Podcast. If you haven't already, listen to our other episodes that are available wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're releasing new episodes every Tuesday. Stay tuned, subscribe to the podcast, leave us a positive review, and share it with your friends. See you next time.
You've been listening to the Taekwondo Podcast, keeping the fans, coaches, and high-performance athletes up to date with the latest news and trends on Olympic Taekwondo. Your host, Coach César Valentim, has almost 20 years of experience with high-performance Taekwondo and has worked all around the world as a Taekwondo trainer. Peter Nessler has been teaching Taekwondo for more than 20 years, and he's currently one of the top referees in Europe. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram at Taekwondo Podcast, on Facebook at Taekwondo Cast, and the website taekwondopodcast.com. See you next time.